Hi everybody, it's Maria Willis and I'm so glad to have you joining me today for this close-up look at Hero Paste. We're going to be looking at some of the different ways that you can use Hero Paste today, including creating your own custom colors, using it with a stencil, and even adding product on top for a customized finish. Hero Paste is a white, opaque texture paste. It is thick, yet easy to spread and also easy to clean up. You can apply Hero Paste with a variety of different tools. You can purchase tools or just use things that you find around the house. For example, those credit cards that you're always getting in the mail, those are perfect. Also, look in your drawers for other things like hair picks or combs that might work well for adding texture. I'm going to use my metal palette knife to show you some different ways to apply Hero Paste. That first sample has a smooth application. The second one, I worked the paste back and forth to add more texture. And on this third one, I'm dabbing my palette knife into it to create a spackled look. So here you can see those three different looks were very easy to achieve, but will look quite different on a finished card. Now I'm going to apply more paste and show you how you might use your household items to apply texture to your projects. I'm grabbing an old hair pick that I found and just dragging it through that paste. You can play around with it and add texture in any way that you want. I'm going to show you one more thing, but before I do, I wanted to show you how easy the cleanup can be. Just grab a baby wipe or a wet paper towel or take your tools to the sink and they clean up very easily. Now I've shown you how to create texture so far using tools, but I wanted you to know that if you heat your Hero Paste, it will bubble. So you can add texture by intentionally heating your Hero Paste and it will start to bubble up and create permanent texture that will stay on the surface of the paste, and I just love this look. This is of course your warning that if you prefer a smooth finish, not to get your heat tool too close to your Hero Paste. So just a quick recap, we have done a smooth and textured application, a spackled look, a combed look, and a bubbled look. Now something very cool about heating and bubbling this Hero Paste is that it changes the properties a little bit. So here I took a white piece of paper, applied my paste through a stencil, and I bubbled the left side only. Then I sprayed some liquid watercolor over the top of it, and you can see that on the left side, the paste absorbed the color, where on the right side, the paste resisted it. So that's just something to note. Now I'm going to use a cloud stencil on a piece of Paradise cardstock to apply my paste through the stencil. Now as I'm applying this, I'm not being very careful to get a smooth finish, which is going to give me kind of a textured rough look to my clouds. So I'm going to go ahead and peel that stencil off, and just leaving the clouds alone like this would be really great, but I decided to add some glitter. So while the paste is still wet, you can add products like glitter or embossing powder to the surface and they will stick. Okay, let's move on to creating our own custom colors of Hero Paste. I like to add just a tiny bit of Hero Paste to an acrylic block or somewhere where it's easy for me to mix it up. And I'm going to add a couple of drops of Reactive ink Reinkers. You can also use the liquid watercolors to do this and it works perfectly, but for today I'm just showing you with the Reactive ink Reinkers. So I am using Lemon Drop, Creamsicle, and Fruit Punch. I've added about 4 drops each to these little gobs of Hero Paste that I've added to my acrylic block, and now I'm just going to make sure that they're thoroughly mixed in so that all of my paste is colored. And I do want to let you know that I am cleaning my palette knife between colors so that I'm not having cross-contamination of colors. So here's how beautiful those look, and now I am going to take the new Fall Leaf stencil, which I've taped to a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to apply these custom colors of Hero Paste through the stencil for an ombre look. Now I'm going to grab my handy dandy little credit card and I'm going to use that to pull the colors through each other back and forth so that I have cross-contamination. It's going to look so cool with the leaves to have the colors mixed up. Now here is a close-up look of how that looks, and I just think that those colors work so beautifully together, especially with this fall leaves stencil. Now I want to add a little bit of something extra, so I'm just taking a pinch of sand embossing powder, and this powder has copper and white and different metallics in it, and I'm just sprinkling that pinch over the top. I am not covering it entirely, just adding a little bit of extra detail. Now I'm going to hit it with my heat tool, but I'm being very careful to heat from far enough away that I didn't blister my hero paste. And I love the way that that little bit of extra embossing powder adds some beautiful detail. Now I'm going to grab my liquid watercolor sprays that I made using the Hero Arts liquid watercolors. There's a video for that over on my channel if you're interested in how to do it. And I'm just going to spray my watercolors onto a piece of watercolor paper. And I'm just trying to apply color because what I want to show you here is that you can add hero paste on top of color too. You can apply color on top of the paste, but you can also apply the paste on top of color. So now I'm using the Mermaid Sea Waves stencil to apply my paste on top of that color. I'm making sure that I'm going with the grain of the stencil so that I'm not getting paste underneath my stencil, because this is a very detailed stencil and it would be easy to get the paste underneath the stencil. I had a lot of extra paste on my credit card that I didn't want to waste, so I grabbed a piece of pitch black cardstock and I applied the paste using that same stencil right on top of that piece of black cardstock, and the contrast is just so great, but I thought it would look really cool if I added some brass embossing powder. So I went ahead and covered it with the brass embossing powder, and now I'm going to heat emboss that, and it just comes out with such a gorgeous, rich look to it. I hadn't planned on making this piece, but I'm so glad that I grabbed that piece of scrap paper and made it. Now let's get back to this original piece we were working on. I've decided to apply a couple of different techniques to this. So the bottom right corner right there and a little bit up the side, I did blister my hero paste because I wanted it to absorb my liquid watercolors down there and have a heavier application of color. So down at the bottom it should be absorbing the color more, and up at the top the paste will remain a little bit slicker and have a smoother surface, and so the color won't absorb up there as well. So you're already starting to see that happen. You can see up at the top that if I touch it, it will wipe right off, and you can actually use that to enhance the design by removing some of the color so that the background appears deeper and the paste jumps to the forefront. Down at the bottom, I'm just letting that liquid watercolor move around and settle into the cracks and crevices between the hero paste. So here's how that ended up looking after I dried it, and I love the layers of color and the different elements of texture that we were able to get in this piece. Now let's take a look at the different backgrounds we made today. We've got this glittery cloud background that has both texture and sparkle, and we've got this custom colored leaf background that will be perfect for your fall cards. We've got this heat embossed brass look on black, which is such a great contrast. And then we've got this final background that we made using the stencil and multiple layers of liquid spray watercolor. I hope you've enjoyed this close-up look at hero paste today and that you will feel inspired and confident to use it on your own projects. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below or over on the Hero Arts blog. Happy crafting, everybody! Have an awesome day!